Hi everyone, it's Sherry Carroll here with SimonsSaysStamp.com with a quick card idea using the exclusive stamps and dies. To start my card off, I'm using 3 of the die sets, and they are the mini hearts, the Paulina die, and then a couple of the stamp sets. But I've already cut out my dies here onto some regular white cardstock, and I'm just peeling them off. I use a little bit of painter's tape to keep the dies positioned onto my cardstock. And if you need to, use a little pokey tool or awl or something to go ahead and poke those out. So next I want to put my butterfly onto my Desert Storm card that I've cut and scored at the top. So I'm just using a little bit of painter's tape, and I'll run that through my die cut machine. So here I've already cut it out and I've created the window for my card, and now I'm going to add my little strip of paper which will anchor my butterfly. So what I'm doing is cutting this paper here just a little bit, and I'll measure that up to this card just to make sure that that'll go across the whole length that I need it to. So now I can just add a little bit of glue to the inside of my card. So here I'm just working on the inside, and I'll add some glue at the top and the bottom of where that butterfly body will go, and I'll put this little piece of paper on the inside. So this gives me an anchor point to put my butterfly on the outside. Now I'm ready to do some stamping, and I've slid a piece of paper into the card so that I won't stamp the inside where the butterfly window is. So I'm using some of the flowers from the petal pieces, and I'm starting off with the soft granite ink, and I'm using this really cute outline flower that's in the set. So I'll just make this my main stamped image on this card, and I'm running this up the top, and I'm stamping in the area where that white paper is inside the card. So I have not stamped the inside of the card. This is just regular, like typing paper, or you can use scrap paper. So this is how this will look, and I can go ahead and put my butterfly in here. I'm going to start stamping on my butterfly, but this will give me an idea of where those flowers sit. I don't want one of those, the same type of flower sitting right next to it on the Desert Storm card as it is on the butterfly. So I'm stamping it in a different direction. And so now I'll go ahead and match this up, and you can see what I'm talking about, where it's not really close to that other image. Okay, so now I can start stamping some of the colors onto here and making this really bright. And the idea of me stamping this butterfly, I want to do it all on one side, a lot of the color on one side, because this card's going to be called Be Yourself, and so I thought it'd be kind of fun that this butterfly is not completely stamped, but most of the color sits offside, so kind of thinking outside the box a little bit. So here I'm using Butter Bar ink and a Boulder flower stamp, and I'll just be adding a lot of stamping and coloring. I've added another flower using the Fresh Peach, and here I'm using one of the leaf stamps and the new Mint Julep ink. And I am allowing these images to kind of overlap where the colors will match and blend well together. So the Fresh Peach over the yellow goes well, and anything around the gray goes really well. There are several little small images that are in this Petal Pieces stamp set, and I'm going to be using a couple of them just to add some color to the Desert Storm. So here I'm using Butter Bar ink and kind of matrix dot type looking image, and I'll slide my paper into my card so I don't stamp on the inside of my card. So here's the Butter Bar. I like how this is looking on the Desert Storm. And next there's this little teeny tiny dot that I'll use for the center of my flowers. And for this color I'll use the Fresh Peach. Let me put my Butter Bar away. So let me grab my Fresh Peach, and I'll just add just a hint of color, and it's amazing how just one little dot adds so much to your card. Now I'm ready to put my butterfly onto my card, so I'm just using my thumbnail in the center and just adding a little bit of crease. And I'll be wrapping this with some twine, and once I have this wrapped about 3 times, I'll go ahead and tie a knot at the top, and this will create the antenna for the butterfly. A quick way to adhere the butterfly to the card is to go ahead and put some glue on that strip of paper. And here I'm just using a glue pen. You could use Glossy Accents or any other type of white glue if you wanted, even your tape runner. you could go ahead and use. So I'm just going to straighten out the antenna, and I have a little bit of time for this glue to dry, and once I'm ready I can just go ahead and hold this down in place and pull those antenna up in the front. So now I'm going to add my adhesive just to my scrap paper, and I have these 3 little hearts here, and I want to color these with the inks. So I'm just going to use my finger. You could use a sponge applicator or a Tim Holtz ink applicator to go ahead and color those, but these inks clean off really quickly from your hands, so you can go ahead and just use the tip of your finger, and I use a different finger for every color just to color those little hearts in. Next, I want to stamp my greeting, and I've chosen yourself, so this will say be yourself. I've also colored my B with some of the Butter Bar ink too. I think you can see that up in the upper right. So I have a little strip of paper here, and just to get my alignment good I have to get my head in the way. It's a really skinny strip of paper, so I've stamped yourself, and I'll just position it on the card this way, but I'll cut this into a little arrow end, so I'm just going to go at like a 45-degree angle or miter angle if you've ever done framework. And so now I have my little greeting here, and I'll just use my adhesive tape and put this on my card. And I can have it here, or I think it'll look better if I just went ahead and used the whole length of the paper. So go ahead and stick that down. Now I can just continue on with the rest of the assembly of my card. So again, I'll be using my glue pen for my little hearts, and they are tiny. I should probably have some tweezers to work with these. But a couple dots of the glue pen just on the back will work. So I'll just put a few dots and then pick it up with my finger and go ahead and position it onto my card. So I'll finish up putting the rest of my hearts and also the B to finish this card up. So here's how the finished card looks. I love the top folding card, and I love the window with the butterfly. And here's a close-up look of how that butterfly window looks. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial on the exclusive Simon Says Stamp Dies and Stamps.